Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. Let's start today's video off with a recent guest posing of Samson Dauda, who is currently over 320 pounds, looking very impressive. And Samson also had great midsection control throughout this guest posing. And a lot of people are skeptical of Samson Dauda when he says he goes completely off at periods throughout the year. But looking at Samson at this guest posing versus the Pittsburgh Pro, I'm pretty sure that Samson was off, because this guy just started his very short off season and his body just blew up instantly. Last year, I believe Samson peaked out around 330 pounds. He's already over 320. It's possible he goes a little bit over that this off season. And again, the midsection is looking great. And as of right now, I believe we are 18 or 19 weeks out from the Mr. Olympia. And I'm telling you guys, these next 18 weeks are going to fly by. But this year's Olympia is already setting up to be a great one. Samson is looking incredible. He brought arguably his all-time best to the Arnold UK. Let's see what he brings to the O. Now, we also had a recent guest posing from the mutant Nick Walker. And the first thing that I want to comment on is the midsection control, because there has been an issue for Nick at the Pittsburgh Pro guest posing. But great midsection control throughout this. And Nick actually said he didn't really feel like himself prepping for New York until maybe 3 or 4 weeks until the show. So maybe Nick was just kind of in a funk. He hadn't competed in a little while, and the mutant will be back to his normal self at this year's Olympia. What do you guys think? Now let's switch over to Rubiel Mosquera, Nickzilla, who possibly already has some of the best side shots in bodybuilding. And I cannot wait to see this guy on stage at the Dubai Pro. I believe Rubiel is currently about 6 weeks out, and conditioning is looking pretty good as well. I'm not 100% sure of who all will be competing there, but I am expecting Behrooz Tabani and Nathan DeAsha to be in the lineup, and Rubiel already beat Nathan once. Now, speaking of Behrooz Tabani, he recently posted up a very impressive back double bicep. And Behrooz, when you're a guy with bigger glutes, you pretty much always have to flex your glutes. You have to. It just kind of looks awkward looking at unflexed glutes, all jokes aside. But Behrooz back double bicep is looking very incredible ahead of this year's Pro Classic. I'm not sure if Behrooz is going to do Italy the next week against Nathan DeAsha, but I do think it's quite possible. And I guess he's going to do Dubai as well, so hopefully we get to see Behrooz compete a bunch in the upcoming weeks. He's looking very impressive. And speaking of impressive, let's talk about these recent updates of Nathan DeAsha. And honestly, I do believe Nathan may be at his all-time best going into this year's Italy Pro. Italy is going to be the week after the Pro Classic, but looking at Nathan, I'm not sure why he doesn't jump into the Pro Classic as well, but I'm pretty sure he already has multiple shows planned. But I'm actually very impressed by the quads of Nathan DeAsha. I think he has made significant improvements to them since last year, and I also have to tip my hat to Boss of Outlaw. He's doing great work these days. Now let's switch over to John Jewett, who will be competing in this year's Toronto Pro, and I have to say, John looks very, very impressive from the side, and he will be competing in men's open. I'm not sure if John has made a permanent decision to stay in open or if he's still open to competing in 212. But this guy could be a dark horse for the show. I've already seen some of you guys say in the comments he can actually win the show. I'm not really going to go too deep into how I think John is going to do. I should be doing a podcast as well as a prediction video, and I'll go into detail about my thoughts on the Toronto Pro, but I'm looking forward to seeing what John is going to bring. I know he's going to bring some crazy conditioning for sure. And in the next update of the day, we have a recent update from Martin Fitzwater, the winner of this year's Detroit Pro and runner-up at this year's New York Pro. And Martin is one of the guys I am most excited to see at this year's Olympia. You guys have heard me say he has potential to place top 6 depending how things go. Top 8 is a safe bet, top 10 is the safest bet, but I want to say this. I'm not saying that Martin is going to win the Mr. Olympia, but structurally, he is very similar to the top 2 bodybuilders in the world. Also has a pretty good back. Now let's switch over to Classic Physique. We have some recent updates from Urs Kalecinski, and what I found interesting about these updates, Urs is hitting a lot of most musculars, which are mostly open bodybuilding poses. And I wonder, is Urs just staying conditioned, or is he just a guy that's always conditioned? Whether he adds 30 or 40 pounds in the off season, he still has striated glutes. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Urs is going to bring to the stage this year, because a lot of people say he isn't really making improvements. He looks the same from year to year, but it seems like Urs is pushing a little bit harder this year. Now let's switch over to a recent update from Stephane Matala, who finally announced the show 5 weeks out from the Portugal Pro, and it looks like Patrick Tuor gave this guy some carbs. Physique definitely has a little bit more life than the last time we talked about Stephane. And I know a lot of us disagree with the decision that Stephane has made to constantly strip off muscle instead of add muscle. He's kind of body deleting instead of body building, but to be fair, he still has a very impressive physique, and I still think he has a great chance of winning a lot of these classic physique pro shows despite losing so much muscle. But again, this just cannot be healthy. I'm excited to see the finished project though, and credit to Patrick Tuor for coaching this guy. And I also want to mention that Stephane possibly has the craziest tricep pump I've ever seen. Now let's go ahead and wrap up today's video here with the archive of the day. You guys let me know in the comment section below who is this legendary bodybuilder. And as always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. And if you have not done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 10,000 subs. I'm Krishan from Go Fitness, and that's it. I'm out.